This is The Pirates, Chapter 10. The metallic door of the elevator slid open with a soft squishing sound, and a green-skinned, slug-faced man stepped onto the bridge, wearing a white apron and orange plastic gloves. "Plymouth hands, reporting for duty, Captain," he spluttered. A stream of yellow slime dribbled down the green man's chin, and his tentacles stood upright. He saluted with a gloved hand in the direction of the captain's chair. "He is in his cabin," hissed Ebony. "He does not wish to be disturbed." Slime's hand scratched his head. "Oh well, in that case, can you tell me where the galley is?" A handsome, bare-chested, pale-skinned youth with spiky silver hair lay on the captain's bed next to a slim, naked, dark-skinned teenage boy, shuffling a packet of Venetian playing cards. A blue-skinned man wearing a pair of white briefs sat on the edge of the bed, smoking a long purple cigarette. Billy Bones inhaled deeply and breathed out a plume of violet smoke. "Captain, please report to the bridge," purred the soft voice of the communications officer over the intercom. "What's the problem?" asked the captain. "I'm receiving a long-range transmission, sir," purred Ben Gunn. "I said that I did not wish to be disturbed," sighed the blue man. "It's on an association frequency, sir." Silver zipped up the fly of his black plastic jeans. Captain Bones smiled at the naked, dark-skinned Nubian lying at the foot of the, Captain Bones smiled at the naked, dark-skinned Nubian lying on the bed. "I think your academy friends might be looking for you." Hawkins raised his eyebrows. "Tell them I resign," smiled the boy, playing with his long, thick brown cock. "The message isn't for Mr. Hawkins, sir," purred the soft voice of the communications officer. "It is for you." "Who's it from?" asked the captain, pulling up his trousers. "It's from Admiral Drake of the Golden Hind, sir," replied the red, furry Felician boy. "They are demanding our immediate surrender." "How far away are they?" asked the blue-skinned man. 24 hours by light speed," replied Ben Gunn. Captain Bones stood up. "Captain to engine room." "Yes, sir," grunted Chief Engineer Morgan. "Power up the thermo-reaction chamber." "Aye, aye, Captain," acknowledged the pig-faced Hegian. "Captain to armoury. Arm all weapons and load trimorphic torpedoes." "Yes, sir," replied Gunner Low. "Captain to pilot. Get us out of this quadrant." "What is our destination?" asked the sharp metallic voice of Excremillion. "As far away from that association vessel as possible." "Engaging lightspeed drive," replied the cyborg. Captain Bones picked up a silver plastine jacket from the floor and handed it to the young, bare-chested Venusian. "We are needed on the bridge." The dark-skinned youth was now wearing a pair of blue briefs. He was busy picking up various items of clothing scattered about the room. "Same time tomorrow?" asked Hawkins, hopefully. The blue man nodded. "If we're still alive." Silver stood up and put his arms around the captain's neck. They embraced and kissed passionately, their tongues dancing in each other's mouths. The young Venusian stepped back and undid the button of the blue man's jeans. He unzipped the fly and squeezed the growing bulge beneath the captain's white silk briefs. The dark-skinned Nubian coughed. "I thought we were needed on the bridge," the youth sighed. Captain Bones smiled. "We'll meet you up there in 5 minutes." The young Venusian knelt down and clenched the blue man's buttocks. "Better make that 10 minutes," smiled Billy Bones, running his fingers through his boyfriend's spiky silver hair. Sorry. Commander Silver looked up at his captain. "Life is just one long big adventure," he sighed. The Nubian youth rubbed his groin with his right hand, and Silver pulled his boyfriend's jeans down to his ankles. Hawkins stood behind the blue man and put his hands around his waist. "Do you think they can manage upstairs without me for a while?" he whispered. "Captain to the bridge," smiled the blue man. "Yes, sir," hissed the snake-headed woman in the captain's chair. "We'll be up there in 15 minutes. William Bones gazed down at the silver-haired youth kneeling in front of him. Better make that half an hour. The metallic doors of the elevator closed with a soft squishing sound. Ebony stood up and William Bones sat down in the captain's chair. Silver sat down at the command console and pressed a few buttons. The Association vessel is on an intercept course, Captain. It is closing in on our position, announced the young Venetian, rolling up the sleeves of his green and black striped sweater. Captain to armoury, battle stations, engage plate shielding, ordered the blue-skinned man, buttoning up his black cotton jacket. Yes, sir, acknowledged Gunner Low. William Bones flicked a switch on the captain's chair, and the bright neon lights of the bridge changed from white to flashing red. Captain to all crew, man your stations, this is a red alert, ordered the captain. The jet black plate shielding roared like thunder as it engulfed the ship. Captain to pilot, we need more speed. Unable to comply, replied Esquimilian in a sharp metallic voice. How long until they catch up with us? Hissed Ebony. Reed stared at the figures on her console. I estimate time of intercept at 5 hours and 15 minutes. Morgan slammed a hoof-like hand on the engineering console. Captain, we're losing power in the thermoreaction chamber. Our engines are failing. There was a loud whistling sound and the Quadag mercenary dropped out of lightspeed. The dazzling kaleidoscopic patterns on the view screen faded to reveal a black ocean polka-dotted with glittering silver stars. How long do we have now? Hissed the snake-headed woman. 5 minutes, replied the bald-headed clone. The golden arrowhead glistened under a bright pink light of the Herculean sun. It was about half the size of the Quadag mercenary, but armed to the teeth with weaponry. I'm receiving a transmission, purred the red furry Felician boy sitting at the communications console. The pirate vessel floated, motionless in space, like a Rosalian firefly stuck in a squidgy purple lump of Splurgian poo. Put it through on the main viewer, ordered Captain Bones. The double-chinned face of Admiral Drake filled the view screen at the front of the bridge. Are you having a problem with your engines? Chuckled the ginger-haired man in the green uniform. Captain Bones scratched his bearded chin. How did you guess? I suppose you want me to surrender the vessel. Admiral Drake laughed. Now, what would be the fun in that? I want to watch your ship burn like a Crocalian firefly in the mating season. Reed stared at the face on the view screen. I know him, she stuttered. That's the man in my dreams. He's the man of your dreams? Questioned Silver, raising his left eyebrow. The one who raped me, shouted the bald-headed clone. Admiral Drake looked towards the pale-skinned science officer. Miss Reed, I presume. I've met one of your sisters. Reed stood up. Is she with you? She asked. Oh, she's dead, I'm afraid, sighed the ginger-haired man on the view screen. The poor girl banged her head. It was a tragic accident. Mary Reed took a deep breath. She wished that she could cry, but clones do not have tear ducts. She blinked her opaque white eyes and sat down in her chair. William Bones stood up. You have a very fast ship. I am impressed. The Golden Hind is the fastest ship in the Association, armed with the most sophisticated weapons that money can buy. Admiral Drake was obviously very proud of his vessel. One single titanium torpedo would crush the plate shielding of your ship like an eggshell being hit by a hammer. Christopher Hawkins stood up from his console. Excuse me, sir, permission to speak, he requested. What do you want, boy? Asked Admiral Drake, annoyed at the interruption. The Nubian youth crossed his hands behind his back and pointed out 3 fingers. I am an academy cadet. My ship crash-landed and I was the only survivor. Captain Bones rescued me. The blue-skinned man drummed his fingers on the arm of the captain's chair. Hawkins turned around and coughed. He scratched the back of his neck with 2 fingers, and then turned again to face the view screen. Ebony rested a hand on her console. I surrender myself to the Association. May I have permission to come aboard? Asked the brown-skinned youth, scratching his back. Hawkins clenched his thumbs and stretched out 8 fingers. Admiral Drake shrugged his shoulders. Only if you want to be executed for desertion, cadet. Billy Bones tapped his fingers on the captain's chair. There was a muffled coughing sound coming from behind the Admiral. The ginger-haired man looked over his shoulder and then turned back to face the view screen. I have someone here who wants to talk to you. The face of Walter Riley appeared on the screen. His grey hair was cut short and he wore the uniform of an association lieutenant. The Nubian youth clasped his hands behind his back. He now held out 4 fingers. Oh. I presume you want your ship back. The blue man tapped his fingers on the arm of his chair. You know, I'd love to stay and chat about old times, but I've just disabled your weapons systems. And your engines. Engineering to bridge, came the gruff voice of Chief Engineer. Morgan, the thermoreaction chamber is recharged and hyperdrive engines are back online. Captain Bones smiled at the face of his ex-commanding officer. I will see you in hell, Lieutenant. Captain Pilot, I need light speed now, commanded Captain Bones. The bright white light engulfed the quad mercenary, and a dazzling display of kaleidoscopic patterns danced across the view screen. Hawkins turned around to face his captain. I'm glad Morgan managed to salvage the electrode disruptor from my ship. William Bones sat down on the captain's chair. I'm just glad you managed to remember the Golden Hind's security codes. The young Nubian shrugged his shoulders. I served on the ship for 2 months, just after it had been commissioned. Commander Silver stood up and walked towards the elevator doors. Where are you going? Asked the blue-skinned man. We haven't finished our card game, sighed the spiky-haired Finnesian. The metal doors slid open with a soft squishing sound, and Commander Silver stepped into the elevator. Are you boys coming? He asked. The blue-skinned man stood up. Ebony, take the captain's chair. I'll be in my cabin if you need me. Yes, sir, hissed the snake-headed Medusan. Beep, beep, beep. A light flashed on the communications console. Wait a minute, Captain, purred Ben Gunn. Now what? Asked the blue-skinned man. I'm picking up a signal, sir, replied the small, furry Felician. Is it from the Golden Hind? Asked the captain, sitting back down in his chair. I'm just translating it now. Ben Gunn pressed a button on the communications console. The transmission is coming from a space station in this quadrant. It's inhuman, but it's not on an association frequency. Commander Silver sat down at the command console. Shall I pilot an intercept course? He asked, looking over his shoulder at the captain. The blue-skinned man nodded. Pilot, how long will it take to reach the space station? 1.5 hours in impulse power, replied the sharp metallic voice of Exclamillion. Mr. Gunn, activate the main viewer, ordered Captain Bones. The screen crackled and buzzed into life, and a tall, thin, blonde-haired human, wearing a grey monk's cassock and skull cap, appeared on the view screen. A large gold crucifix hung on a heavy golden chain around the young man's skinny neck. Hallelujah! Shouted the man, raising his hands in the air. What can I do for you? Asked the blue-skinned man in the captain's chair. Praise the Lord! Smiled the blonde-haired man. My name is Brother Justice. Are you a pilgrim? He asked. The blue-skinned man shook his head. Not quite. You are welcome to our church. The young monk crossed his chest with his right forefinger. Commander Silver scratched his head. What church? He asked. The young man smiled. This space station is our church. Our purpose is to guide our fellow pilgrims to the gates of heaven. And what is the name of your church? Asked Captain Bones. We call it the Cathedral, replied Brother Justice. The Cathedral was a small white cylindrical shaped space station. floating in the black emptiness of space. Marie Reed stood at the science station. She pressed a button on her console. The station is unarmed, Captain. Ooh. We mean you no harm. Sorry. We mean you no harm, smiled the grey cassocked monk. Captain Bones scratched his bearded chin. We are a long way from home. Brother Justice sat down on a large red and green jewel-encrusted golden throne. And the Lord put the stars in the open firmament of heaven to give light unto the earth, he explained. We're just trying to spread that light a little further, and we would be honoured if you would be our guests. That is very kind of you, smiled Captain Bones. We are your humble servants. Brother Justice smiled at the blue-skinned man on his monitor. We rarely have visitors. It would indeed be a privilege if you would join us for supper. William Bones scratched his chin. Thank you for the invitation. Brother Justice clasped his hands across his stomach. Please feel free to bring 2 of your friends. I'm afraid that we do not have enough food to feed the rest of your crew. We are simple people with scarce means. Oops. The monk looked towards the giant Manovan standing behind the captain's chair. And please, don't bring him with you. We only eat dead animals, I'm afraid. The blue man looked over his shoulder at the bull-headed giant. He is my bodyguard. Brother Justice laughed. And we are but simple monks. I only have just one other condition that I must humbly impose upon you. Please leave your weapons behind. Violence is against our religion. And what religion is that? Asked the blue-skinned man in the captain's chair. We are the Church of the 7 Virtues, replied the monk. Teach leant over the back of the captain's chair and whispered into the blue man's ear. It smells like a trap to me, sir. Maybe, whispered Billy Bones over his shoulder. But did you see what that chair was made of? Captain Bones turned his head to face the view screen and smiled. I would be delighted to join you for dinner. We should rendezvous with you in less than an hour. He pressed a button on the captain's chair and the view screen went blank. William Bones, Ebony, and Ben Gunn sat at a long, ornately carved wooden table, laden with strange-smelling alien meats, exotic fruits, and odd-shaped vegetables, served on golden platters. Brother Justice sat at the far end of the table, opposite an old grey-haired man wearing a white monk's cassock. Marie Reed pressed a button on the science station. I've lost their communication signal, Commander. The Cathedral has erected some kind of force field. It's blocking our transmissions. Shall I order Gunner Low to arm our weapons? Asked the young Nubian sitting at the command console. Commander Silver shook his head. The captain is on that space station, Mr. Hawkins. Do you want to blow him up as well? Asked the silver-haired Venusian in the captain's chair. Teach. See if you can find some way to penetrate the force field. Yes, sir, acknowledged the giant Manovan, standing at the communications console. I knew it was a trap, he grunted. Silver turned his chair to face the Manovan. So did the captain. 3 white-skinned plutonium females, dressed in nuns' habits, sat opposite the pirates. And on either side of the visitors sat 2 hooded Aphrodisian males, wearing monks' cassocks. Brother Prudence clasped his hands together in prayer and bowed his head. For what we are about to receive, may we be truly thankful, whispered the purple cassocked monk. Amen, sighed the old man in the white cassock. Father Fortitude picked up a golden jug and poured himself half a glass of blue wine. "Please help yourself to whatever takes your fancy," frowned the black man in the brown cassock. "I am not a great cook, I'm afraid," sighed Brother Temperance. Captain Bones picked up a piece of meat and took a bite. He chewed it for several minutes before swallowing. "It tastes delicious. What is it?" he asked. "Some kind of alien dog, I think," sighed the fat monk. Brother Prudence stared at Captain Bones and smiled. He put his right hand under the table and squeezed the blue man's left thigh. Billy Bones whispered into the handsome young monk's white ear. "Is it true what they say about aphrodisians?" he asked. The pretty young monk licked his lips. "Why don't you find out?" The blue-skinned man stood up. "I'm sorry, but I really need to go to the toilet." Brother Prudence smiled. "I'll show you the way." He stood up. "Follow me," suggested the young, handsome, dark-haired monk. The door of the toilet cubicle closed with a chink. Captain Bones put his arms around the young monk and they kissed. Brother Prudence parted his full pink lips, and the captain slipped his tongue into the boy's warm, wet mouth. The blue-skinned man ran his fingers through the young monk's wavy brown hair and squeezed his firm buttock cheeks with his left hand. The boy unzipped the captain's black rubber-skin jeans and fumbled inside his briefs. He pulled out the blue man's cock and wanked it back and forth. Captain Bones knelt down on the white polished floor of the toilet cubicle, and Brother Prudence lifted up his purple cassock to his waist. The blue-skinned man licked the monk's long, thick penis and guided the missile into his mouth. He sucked hard on the boy's cock. "Do you fuck?" asked the young Aphrodisian, licking his lips. Captain Bones looked up at the handsome monk and smiled. He let the boy's large pink penis slip out of his mouth. Well, I prefer being fucked," he sighed. "Bend over the toilet," suggested Brother Prudence, pulling the captain's jeans down to his knees. He reached inside the pocket of his purple cassock and took out a tube of lubricating jelly. "Well, I see you came prepared." The blue man smiled. He turned around and leant over the toilet, resting his hands on the lavatory seat. There was a knock on the toilet door. "What are you doing in there?" asked Brother Temperance. "What do you think?" asked Brother Prudence. "Can I join in?" asked the brown cassocked monk outside the toilet cubicle. "Go away!" shouted the purple cassocked Aphrodisian. "Please!" begged the fat monk. "Fuck off, fatty!" shouted the purple cassocked Aphrodisian. "I'll be like that," huffed Brother Temperance, slamming the toilet door. Brother Prudence, the slim, handsome monk, squeezed the captain's firm, round buttocks and slid his long, thick cock up the blue man's anus. "That's fantastic," gasped Billy Bones. Brother Prudence pushed his cock deeper and deeper up the blue man's arsehole. The captain wanked his cock in rhythm to the monk's thrusts. "I'm going to come," gasped the boy. A jet of creamy white jism shot out of the captain's throbbing willy, splashing onto the toilet seat. "So have I," sighed the blue man. Captain Bones buttoned his jacket and sat down at the dinner table. "Sorry we took so long. I got stuck in the toilet." Brother Prudence straightened his purple cassock and sat down beside the blue-skinned man. "It's just Hope," picked up a crystal goblet and raised it in the air. "Good health to you, gentlemen," smiled the young white-skinned woman in the pink nun's habit. Do you believe in God?" asked Mother Faith. "Do you believe in God?" asked Mother Faith. She was an old green-haired, Plutonian woman with a wrinkled smile, and she wore a black nun's habit. Captain Bones smiled at the old woman. I suppose that depends upon what you mean by God. The old woman took a sip of blue wine from a crystal goblet. Ben Gunn picked his nose and wiped the bogey under the table. Father Fortitude leant back in his chair and closed his eyes. I hope you are enjoying your meal, smiled the young nun in the pink nun's habit. Maybe you will visit us again, asked Sister Hope. Ebony took a bite from a square yellow fruit. It is very tasty, hissed the snake-headed Medusa. A middle-aged Plutonian woman, wearing a green nun's habit, picked up a bowl of fruit and handed it to Ebony. Please, have another pucker fruit, suggested Sister Charity. There's plenty more where that came from. Captain Bones frowned. You eat very well for a group of humble monks, he sighed. Brother Justice stood up. I'm afraid that I have a confession to make. The young man clasped his hands under the flaps of his grey cassock. Let me guess, sighed Captain Bones. You are not really men of the cloth. Brother Temperance prodded the blue-skinned man in the ribs with the barrel of a zap gun. We are bounty hunters, actually. I had my suspicions, sighed Captain Bones. Father Fortitude opened his eyes and smiled. How did you guess? Asked the old monk in the white monk's habit. The blue man stood up. There is no such thing as a free lunch. I suppose you are going to hand us over to the association, hissed Ebony. Brother Justice laughed. Please don't take it personally. We are just trying to make a living. The grey cassock monk picked up a crystal goblet and took a sip of Yovian beetle beer. The snake-headed woman licked her lips with her long forked tongue and spat a mouthful of venom in the young monk's face. Brother Justice... Sorry. Beg your pardon. Hold on a minute. Not easy. Sorry. The snake-headed woman licked her lips with a long forked tongue and spat a mouthful of venom in the white monk's face. Brother Justice screamed in agony and fell to his knees, clutching his hands to his burning face. Billy Bones lifted up the table and tipped it towards the three Plutonian nuns, clapping them between the wall and the table. Ben Gunn flexed his paws and extended 5 razor-sharp claws, swiping Father Fortitude across the throat in one single fluid movement. The old man fell back in his chair, scarlet blood pouring from the gaping wound in his neck. Captain Bones pressed a button on his wrist communicator. Don't bother, suggested the brown cassock monk, aiming a vac gun at the captain's head. It won't work. This space station may be unarmed, but it is equipped with a high-density electromagnetic force field. Brother Prudence stood up. We'd rather take you in alive, if at all possible. But dead will do. Billy Bones smiled at the young purple cassock monk. I've got a better idea. Come and join my crew, he suggested. The fat monk laughed. He won't fall for that one. Brother Prudence licked his full pink lips and smiled. Okay, he replied. Ben Gunn leapt the fat, brown-robed monk, his claws extended towards the bounty hunter. Brother Temperance turned his head and aimed his gun in the direction of the small red Felician boy.